Mike's Daily Podcast.
Welcome to Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. I'm your host, Mike Matthews, and the show's called
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Here's something that I learned, that people don't know that this podcast exists unless I post it on LinkedIn. Then they go, oh, I've missed 2,205 podcasts. 2205 is today's podcast. Yes, that's amazing that I've done so many of these and that I'm still alive. Hey, it was like 10 years ago.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
When I started that show. And I've been podcasting since late 2008. And
Mike's
that's around the time
Daily
I said goodbye
Podcast
to a particular radio conglomerate in Alabama. And I recently saw the guy that I worked for, two of the guys I worked for, because I worked for two people, it's part of this radio conglomerate, are on LinkedIn. One of them looks like he's never used any kind of internet media, social media thing before in his life, because all he has is a picture of himself and his huge thing. What do you call it? Title. Yes, he has a title, an enormous title. So that's what life is trying to achieve a huge title, which is funny because there are a lot of people that just make up their own titles and they come up with some pretty good ones. My title is Mike's Daily Podcast at mikesdailypodcast.com, where you can listen to the show. Hey, here's something I didn't know until I picked up this thing called the internet and opened it up and looked at it and found out that we might be in a bubble, a house price bubble that's about to burst. Housing prices went up last year, despite all everybody's like, well, the pandemic's happening. The house prices are going to go down. It's going to be 2008, 2009 already.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Again. But instead, we had some pretty high house prices last year. So are we in a bubble? As strong as the property market is right now, experts are worried that it won't last. And one guy said, reality check is about to happen. Yikes. The podcast picture today has nothing to do with reality checks. Oh, I guess it actually did happen. So in a sense, it did. It was part of reality. It was part of this wonderful trip. Somebody texted me, Basil, the late great Basil the boxer. He would have enjoyed this trip that we took. Yes, sorry, Basil. Oh, but you know what? He was with us. That's right. I talked about that last show. That people say that there are... okay, where was I? Oh, the reality of what we did on our trip. That's right. We were in the Tamales Bay area. So many bays in the Bay Area. And this is a nice picture from as we were driving around Tamales Bay. I think this town's called Marshall. Yes. And you can see it at mikesdailypodcast.com. No, Reynolds. It's called Reynolds. Marshall Reynolds. There's also a town called Marconi, which is up my alley because I'm in the radio profession. Hey, here at Cafe Anyway, can we turn the lights up a little bit? Crank up the lights because it's tough for Mike's eyes these days. Have you seen my gray beard? Yes, my lovely lady friend says you need to grow a beard. My mom said grow a beard, so I did. And it's gray. Very, very gray. But here's the thing is, you just get gray beards eventually. And you can either rock it and look like a professor and look all cool and distinguished, intelligente, but you can also just look old. So, I don't know. I'm somewhere in that zone. Downturns are tough on employers and their employees. I found that out in 2008. The good news is that if history is any indication, economic slumps are rarely insurmountable. We had a couple of bad stock market days recently. A sell-off, as they say. Based on past recessions, here are 5 pragmatic actions that winning companies take. One is keep marketing. Many businesses understand that if they they try to cut their advertising budgets during hard times because they figure, I don't need to advertise. But history shows that this reduces their exposure, mind share, and ultimately demand. Is your business part of the mind share of the mind hive? Are you top of mind? Basically. For example, after Post, the leading cereal maker going they were the leading cereal maker going into the Great Depression. After they reduced their advertising budget during the Depression, and then second place Kellogg's increased its ad budget by 30% and quickly overtook Post as the leader. When recessions come, don't stop marketing. Institute discount pricing. Yes, if you have a company, let's say you do, or let's say you want to advertise a brand, a title, a thing that you do, your wares, your skills, your employable assets. In addition to maintaining their marketing, businesses that offer short-term discounts weather recessions better than those that hold firm on pricing. Although this reduces margins, studies show that temporary discounts are highly sought after when money is tight. And make budget cuts. As revenue decreases, so too must budgets. But don't cut the advertising. Although, and by the way, if you'd like to advertise on Mike's Daily Podcast, we're looking for a sponsor. We've been looking for one for 10 years, but hey, we're still looking, so. Cafe Anyway. We put your sign right next to Cafe Anyway's sign out front. Heck, we'll replace Cafe Anyway sign with your whatever it is you want to advertise as we go outside of Cafe Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley. We'll put it on that sign right there that says Cafe Anyway. I misspelled Cafe Anyway. As revenue decreases, so too budgets. Although some cost cutting is encouraged, research shows that those who make precise cuts fare better than those with wide-ranging cuts. For example, reducing employees' hours, introducing furloughs, and providing performance pay all grant continued access to your existing talent without permanent layoffs. Although your existing talent will hate you. You put me on a furlough? Yeah, I'll stick around, but I'm looking for something better. This affords you and necessary manpower to try new things instead of doing more on your own, which doesn't work. Develop a growth mindset. Another problem with extreme cost cutting is that it fosters a siege mentality. This leads organizations to aim low, succumb to pessimism, and focus on survival instead of growth. And the gross money that you make. The gross income. Ask yourself, what new opportunities can I take advantage of now, and how can I grow? And retain loyal customers. Rather than investing in lots of different seedlings, the world's largest competitive pumpkin growers put their sole focus on the pumpkins with the largest growth potential. This is somebody called Mike McCallowicks. Hey, our names are similar. He wrote a book called The Pumpkin Plan. While this principle is true in times of plenty, experts agree that it is even more important when times are tough. Your most loyal customers deserve the most attention. And then there's this thing called employee upskilling. Recession often forces businesses to reinvent themselves, but retraining or upskilling employees must always accompany that change. For example, ask your employees to come up with their own personal development plan, then help them fulfill it by allocating time during their workday to do so. You could also pay for online training, credential courses, or micro-learning classes to help them build technical skills. I love that thought the most, because we should always be learning. Because when we stagnate, that's when we look for another job. That's when we look for another line of work. I looked for another line of work 10, 12, 13 years ago, 2008. I was like, I should try something else, completely different from radio. And all these skills and audio recording and producing shows and all that got thrown by the wayside. It would have been better if I could have found something that was maybe a morphed version of that. Podcasting, for example, which is what I did. I got into podcasting, which didn't make any money for me, but there are people that pay for my skills in producing podcasts. If you would like me to help you create a podcast, for example. See, that's my little pitch to you during Mike's Daily Podcast. Not Mike's Daily Pitchcast. I just happen to mention if you need some help with making your podcast, I would be happy to help. 336MM Daily. That's 3 + 3 = 6. MM as in Mike Matthews Daily, as in what this podcast tries to be. We're outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley. And look who's here outside here. Hi, Mike. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing? I love Eagle Eye Cherry.
And to Disgruntled Fiddle Player, tell you what.
What?
You know, I think that Eagle Eye Cherry is the best singer that ever lived.
Save Tonight.
What? What song is that?
That's his only song. That was the biggest song he had. Save Tonight. Until the break of dawn. Come tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be gone.
I don't know what you're saying.
That's the biggest song he's ever had.
I was a big fan of When Mermaids Cry.
I don't know what. Yeah, Mark, that's the best song ever. Look who else is here.
Hello, Mike. I make the delicious root beer. I'm the brewmaster.
I'll drink some.
Drink some right now.
Excellent. I'm going to drink that right now. Hey, thank you for listening to the podcast. You know what? To get more people to listen to this podcast, what you can do is simply, share it. Share it. There's a million ways to share it. I'm on every possible social media, except for all the new ones that all the ultra right-wing people are running to. I'm not on any of those yet. I've heard rumblings of some, I think there's one called Rumble. I don't know too much. I'm not on those yet, but possibly. Who knows? Anyway, Cafe Anyway. I am on mikesdailypodcast.com for sure. And with more on that, here's A-Frame. Oh, next show it's going to be Madame Rootabaga, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. Thank you for listening.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Graybeard.